Back to some of our junior stars now with the Mini GP race 2. Daniel Stevenson on pole from Arnie Carr, Luca Wilkinson and Jack Newton. Charlie Cunningham in 5th from Hudson Cooper. Top 6. Then we've got Brook Champion, Lee Soliu, Charlie Ward, Finley Hanna, Owen Tempest, Ollie Brooks in 12th position. And they're all lining up. We've got another guest on the mic. We can please introduce yourself. It's been a bit of a quick, sorry, beg pardon.
There is Richard Cooper, been out riding the 140, 160, Mini GP and the Pro-Am class, and I come up to commentate today on the junior stock.
Well, here we go. Daniel Stevenson getting a good jump, but Luca Wilkinson it is that leads them into the first corner. And I'm going to say touch wood. I really don't want to invoke the commentator's curse here, but this first corner is nice and wide. It does seem to have had some good safe starts today as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. All the starts have been fairly safe. Lap one's been pretty well behaved, shall we say. Just watching young Stevenson here is a young lad that I've been doing a little bit of coaching with on the Overley 110, and how much he's impressed me the past couple of weeks away from the racing scene, just on the practice days, has been very impressive, and he's shown that today alone, winning race 1 comfortably, and it looks like he's going to be set to win race 2 as well.
And I suppose for like top riders such as yourself, it's been a tricky year this year, and a lot of your attention as well now has been off the track, dealing with a lot of the younger riders and training as much as looking after yourselves this year.
It is, and it's nice to give the kids and the young adults some time, because I've been pit biking for 15 years, and what I've learned, it's nice to pass them on to the younger generation. And it shows now. I come here, and before, I wouldn't say it used to be a walk in the park, but now I have to ride pretty much as hard as I possibly can just to try and win, and it proves that these kids on the 90s and the 110s, some of the corner speed that they've got is so impressive, and it's so good to see, because this is what we need. We need another world champion, and it needs to come from this kind of racing.
And of course, this is the advantage. Of course, Daniel Stevenson, just over 1 minute. That's quick going for these smaller bikes. It's like I say, it's getting people into the sport. Almost these younger riders. There's no getting away from the fact that motorsport and bike racing as well, it can potentially be quite expensive compared to, say, football, where you just sort of like go out into the field. So there's a lot of emphasis on this sort of like more grassroots, getting the young riders involved in it, and just giving them the chance in this environment to learn the racecraft.
Exactly that, and with these little bikes, they can use the same set of tyres pretty much all weekend. They don't use a lot of fuel. Alan and BMB do a great job as far as track time's concerned. We're riding all day Saturday, racing on a Sunday, and this is what the kids need. Track time is key, and cost-effective track time is most important, because we haven't all got endless budgets, and that's what we need to look at. We need to make it affordable for anybody to come and enter the race, but also give them the time to learn their craft as well.
Certainly, I'd say racecraft very important as well, because sometimes you say between one of the key differences between the pro riders and amateurs is the pros have that heightened racecraft, you might say, just getting the experience of knowing what to do and dealing with situations in a certain way. As we look at the 63, that was Tempest there, isn't it? But like I said, the racecraft is very important indeed.
Racecraft is something that for us, let's say more established riders, we can pick up on Saturday morning practice, and we'll be on the pace straight away. And you see with these kids, they just get faster and faster and faster as the weekend goes on. That's impressive to see, because they're constantly learning. Every time they get on the bike, they're going faster, they're changing things. So Stevenson there is down to 56.0 on a Bambino 90. It's absolutely mental, really, and he just looks so confident on it, and he's going to jump off this now, and he's going to get on his Overley 110, and he'll carry that confidence over. So not only is he riding the pit bike, he's also riding the GP style bike, and he's transferring the two over, which is, for him, he's constantly learning throughout the weekend, not just a supermoto style bike, but also how to ride a proper little race bike. So him and his brother, Reece Stevenson, they come on leaps and bounds, and for me they stand out because they both wear motocross helmets with the goggles, and they look very much different to the other riders, but I guess we ain't always got to follow what everybody else is doing.
Well, it's the same for me because I'm from very much a motocross background, so it does stand out a mile, admittedly. And Stevenson looking very good, and like you say, these lap times really are starting to tumble. Admittedly, of course, the track is drying out as the day goes on. It's really perfect conditions now, you might say, but certainly 56.09 fastest lap of the race for Stevenson, and he's matching those lap times consistently. Arnie Carr on the 83 still in second, Luca Wilkinson in third, Jack Newton and Charlie Cunningham. And that's the 36 of Leo Soliu in shot there, with Hudson Cooper just behind. 46, maybe Brooke Champion in there as well. Looking neat at the moment. And we were talking earlier about this double apex right-hander. Quite a challenging course. It starts out quite wide, just seems to turn in on itself as the corner goes on.
Yeah, you know, it's a tricky corner because it does tighten up on itself, and I find because I ride the bike with the 10-inch wheels, it's actually quite a difficult corner for us as far as stability is concerned. So when we're racing against the 12-inch wheels in the Pro-Am class, the stability that they've got mid-corner really emphasises against my smaller bike. But then again, at the slower corner, my bike is a little bit more nimble in the tighter stuff. So it's like, you know, it's a juggling act of getting the right combination. These kids are all on 10-inch wheels in this class. You know, it's a starter class, if you like. We've got a novice just there.
Oh, that's a bit there, isn't it?
Number 36. Where is he?
Oh, that's Leo Soliu currently.
And you know, I was talking to him actually walking up the paddock, and he the smile on his face, and I think this is his second ever race, and you know, he was absolutely beaming from ear to ear and just excited to go racing. And you can only think, you know, you're going to come back in 2 or 3 meetings time and he'll be a different rider because of what he's learned from this meeting, and he's going to just carry that on, and his confidence will grow. And you know, as long as he keeps smiling, I think that's the most important thing when you go racing.
Well, it's all about enjoyment as well. And just like Daniel Stevenson using his head there, he got bumped slightly there by the 217. Hudson Cooper, of course, is racing for position, but just taking his time. He's riding cleverly here, because these midfield riders here that he's lapping, of course, they've got their own race to run as well, so they're perfectly entitled to take the line. And it'll be very easy here for Stevenson to try and charge down and make the pass, but he knows he's got a bit of a cushion. Yeah. And just making sure he doesn't do anything stupid. Yeah,
it's good to see that, and he knows that, you know, the guys that he's riding against, you know, they're on a learning curve as much as he is, and to give them respect, even though you're the leader, is always key, because there come a time when they might repay the favour, and but he's got a wise head on young shoulders. He's an absolute tiny little lad, and you know, again, he's another kid that's constantly smiling in the paddock, and his dad is mad as a box of frogs, to be fair, and he collars me all the time for gearing and setup ideas, but I think it's clear to see he's not really struggling as far as getting that bike around this track's concerned.
Well, he's looking very smooth indeed. This is the man we're looking at the moment, the number 11 of Daniel Stevenson, who leads the race by just a shade under 4 seconds from Arnie Carr in the 83 in second, who's still charging away just behind this fantastic rider there. I think that's Carr there, isn't it, the 83. He's just gone around the outside of the 217 of Hudson Cooper. Luca Wilkinson a bit further behind in third. There's a few more seconds adrift, just going through the pit hairpin at the moment, as Stevenson, fastest lap of the race there, 55.70, so he's got this track dialed at the moment.
It's funny you mentioned Luca Wilkinson in third. He has got the cheekiest face in the paddock, and every time I see him, he's another little kid that's constantly smiling, and you'll ask him how he's getting on, and he'll give you a very good description of what's happened during the race and after the race. He's a cracking little lad, to be fair, he is.
Oh, he's one of these. There's some of these riders, they're a bit shy to be interviewed, aren't they? But on the other hand, some riders, they're really...
And if you get a chance to interview Luca, you'll understand what I'm saying, because he definitely knows what to say at the right time. He's quite an amusing little kid. You know, he's come on a lot since I've seen him. He also rides a mini GP bike, you know, and he's going to make massive strides in the next couple of meetings for me, and they'll be one of them that, you know, hopefully he can challenge Daniel Stevenson and Arnie Carr come the next 2 or 3 rounds.
And that'll be interesting to see, because, of course, looking at this race, Stevenson has got things under control here, but not a great deal of difference between these riders. And, of course, we've got some different tracks coming up, the likes of Wilton Mill coming up a bit later in the year, and Teesside. This, of course, the Ellough Park circuit, it's well established on the karting scene, but new for the bikes for this year. It's been many years since a mini bike meeting's been held here. So this is almost like a blank canvas, I suppose, as Stevenson leads the way. All these riders have got a new track to contend with, and there's no real form to go on.
No, and I think if you asked any rider in the paddock about this circuit, they would pretty much tell you the same answer. And I think everyone is enjoying the track. You know, they've done a great job in painting it and making it look pretty, as far as, and even the track conditions, the tarmac is real good. There's not so many bumps, and for pit biking, you know, it's nice to come to a facility that's as well maintained and as well looked after as this, because you know it's difficult to find the good big tracks, because sometimes they don't like the bikes riding around. So you know we end up going back to the same circuits over and over again. But Ellough Park for me is probably one of the best on the calendar. I mean, it's by no means close to anybody. I think it's 3 hours just for pretty much everyone in the paddock, but it's well worth the drive, and you know for sure I'll be coming back again to do the next round here when it comes back.
Well, I look forward to seeing you back here, and I think we just to the 119. Was that? I think that's Ollie Brooks at the back of the field. 3 laps adrift at the moment. He's plodding around there, but like I say, he's having fun there, and he's learning all the time.
Yeah, he is. He's another lad that I actually see him walking up the paddock, and I thought he'd missed his race at one point. He was just sort of wandering up the paddock on his bike, pushing it along, and he didn't really look like he knew what was happening, but he just waited at the gate patiently for his race to start, and then joined the grid. So yeah, he was again another cracking little lad.
Well, he's at the back, and it doesn't really matter, to be fair, because he's completing the race in here, and you know, there he is, the 119 machine there. As we cut back to Arnie Carr in second place as we move into the last lap. The top 2 or 3 now really starting to settle down. Looks like Stevenson here lapping another rider. Oh no, just pulls out of that one on the left-hander. That's the
you see the difference in lap times there. Stevenson on a 55.7 and Arnie Carr on a 55.8. In lap time there's only a tenth or so in it, but clearly Stevenson's got race pace, which we mean by he can constantly do that lap time. Perhaps Arnie Carr can do that lap time, but his race pace is perhaps 2 or 3 tenths off that, which is given the gap to Stevenson. But that will come just from experience. You know, and you know that if you can get a lap time within a tenth of Stevenson, all he's got to do is string 8 of those together, and then all of a sudden you're in the race, you're in the battle for the lead. So clearly Stevenson's got a good race pace, which is something that us riders always want to have. It's nice to be able to do a single lap, but it's also nice to be able to string 8 strong laps together. And you see Arnie Carr there delighted with second place, and you know that's what it's about. He can take a trophy home tonight, back to school tomorrow, and show his mates, and you know, and improve from there. To see him so excited about finishing second there, for me that's what it's all about. He's waving to the marshals and acknowledging everybody, which is cracking.
Well, that's it, and now, like you say, it's the consistency is the thing that separates perhaps a good rider from a great rider, and that's the sort of thing, like, these kids are only young, aren't they? They can always pick that up now as the years go on, but they've got that pace and they've got that racecraft. That's the important thing, really.
Mm-hmm.
So that draws to a close the Mini-GP United Race 2, and a great ride there for Daniel Stevenson to take the checkered flag by just over 7 seconds from Arnie Carr in second place, Luca Wilkinson third, Jack Newton in fourth, Charlie Cunningham, Hudson Cooper, Brooke Champion seventh, and Lee Solly back across the line in eighth, Charlie Ward, Owen Tempest, Finley Hanna, and Ollie Brooks. So thanks a lot, Richard. It's been great having you along, and thanks for your insight.
Enjoy the rest of the racing. I'm off to go and watch it myself.
Thank you very much.
Right,
enjoy the sunshine.